Let's go back to Trey Yingst on the ground in Israel. Trey, I've been talking to you for many days, and the barrage from Iran has seemed to be intense, maybe not as intense tonight. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't seen any Iranian missiles tonight as the region is starting to react to this news that American planes targeted Iranian nuclear facilities. I just received a text from Israel's former defense minister, Yoav Gallant. He says President Trump took a bold decision for the United States, for Israel, for all of humanity. The world is now a safer place. Gallant is one of the men who planned the Israeli strikes against these nuclear programs in Iran. And we spoke with him earlier in the week. He called on President Trump to take this decisive action because it would stabilize, in his words, the region. There's an understanding that Iran was getting closer and closer to a nuclear weapon. We saw the statements before the Israelis decided to strike these facilities about there was real concern from the International Atomic Energy Agency regarding Iranian enrichment of uranium at a purity level that was closer and closer to weapons-grade material. And President Trump taking this action tonight to not only target the Fordow nuclear facility outside of the Iranian capital, deep underground, but also Isfahan and Natanz. This effectively destroys Iran's capability to enrich uranium at this level that they would need. There are thousands of centrifuges in these sites, and the fact that the Americans have the bombs and have decided to use them to strike deep underground puts Iran in a position where at some point it will have to make a decision about the future of this regime. Because the Israelis went after many of the air defense systems around these nuclear sites. They went after the sites that they could target with the fighter jets that they have. We talked with those Israeli pilots earlier in the week. And now tonight, President Trump ordering this strike, importantly against the Fordow nuclear facility deep underground, very close to the Iranian capital of Tehran, indicating that this strike will not only damage but likely destroy, if successful, Iran's nuclear program and their ability to go and get closer and closer to a nuclear weapon. We expect to get more reaction from Israeli officials tonight, Brett, about this key strike that will change the course of the Middle East forever, and also what they believe the Iranian response will be, if any, to these strikes. The Iranians still have the capability to strike Israel with their ballistic missiles. We know, according to Israeli officials, that around 2/3 of these launchers have been taken out. But this really illustrates the concern for Israel and the United States when you look at Iran's nuclear program. According to officials, they were weeks away from creating a nuclear bomb. We saw over the past 9 days that Iran has the capability to fire ballistic missiles into Israeli population centers. And so if you put those two pieces together and the Iranians were able to create a nuclear warhead that they could attach to a ballistic missile, it was placing Israel in a position where they could come under legitimate attack from a nuclear weapon in a matter of weeks, if not months. And so President Trump taking this decision tonight takes that threat off the table. And it charts a new path for the region. We are in uncharted territory right now. American planes have bombed Iranian nuclear facilities, and they have now placed the Iranian regime in a position where they will have to make serious decisions about any sort of response against Israel and what they want to do in the future about attacking American interests or the Israelis directly. We know there are American interests not only in the Red Sea, but in places like Iraq with the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, in Bahrain, in Kuwait, in Qatar. And the Iranians have threatened all of these interests. They have launched campaigns not only against the Americans in the region, but of course Israel through their proxies like Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, who they have armed and trained, Hamas and Islamic Jihad inside Gaza, and then of course these Iran-backed Iraqi and Syrian Shia militias. President Trump tonight, by striking the nuclear facilities, has now put Iran in a corner. They have to make a decision about what they want the future of the region to look like. And he's made very clear that there is an opportunity now for peace following these strikes. Whether or not the Iranians will take it, that's up to them.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.